live with Paul. Say hello, Paul.
Hello, Chris. Hello, Paul.
And as you can see, Paul is a nutcase and needs some help, but
I'm in my recliner. I'm not on the sofa tonight, so I'm kicked back. I have to keep my leg up because I'm growing old.
he is old, that's for sure.
I even got the old man cough. So what's going
So,
on?
where to begin with all of what's on in the world? First, I do want to touch on something that I wanted to bring up several shows ago and kept forgetting because this article is actually from June 12th of this year, but I don't know if you saw it. This is from BloombergLaw.com. Trump's HR's new essay question risks politicizing federal hiring. That's right. People that are getting employed by Donald Trump have got to fill out essay questions on why they agree with his politics.
Yeah, I saw that. They had to submit a letter and all these essays and stuff on why they want to work with them. You know, God, kiss the
I
ring.
I'm sorry, but I would rather fill the offices with people who are going to challenge him than the same thing with Democrats. Challenge them on what they're doing. Make them explain why what they're doing is right and see if they can figure out a better way or if it is the best way.
Yeah.
That just seems like the best possible ability to do is have each other challenging each other. That way we create a better world.
I remember an interview with George W. Bush when he had Condoleezza Rice as his wasn't it his secretary? Secretary of something. She's up there,
I can't remember. My computer's going so slow I can't look anything up right now.
and let me turn my phone on silent. Uh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and he says this woman right here keeps me on my toes. She's constantly challenging me, keeping me on my toes. That's what he said.
Was she Secretary General maybe?
I can't. I think that's what I remember, but I know she's high up. So yeah, he said I thank God for her every day because he said she challenges me every day. So I
And
thought that was pretty good.
since we're talking about being challenged, it's a good way to segue into the big terrible bill
Oh
because there is
Lord,
nothing beautiful about it. It's already been challenged on the Medicaid cuts to Planned Parenthood, which that is something that people need to realize. People want to cut funding to Planned Parenthood because it supports abortion. Less than 5% of the funds from Planned Parenthood actually go to abortions. That's over 95% going to other things like, oh, I don't know, providing contraceptives, providing menstrual products, things people need that do not hurt anything.
menstrual products. That just sounds nasty.
Well, like tampons and
Oh, I
pads
know.
and
Go get me a
uh,
tampon. No, anyways.
but that's what they got on to Tim Walz for was he signed a bill into law that provided the availability of menstrual products
Sorry.
in any public restroom that a female would use, and they were trying to say that that was putting it in men's room. No, that was unisex and women's rooms. Not a problem with that.
Do you know how
But
many men's restrooms in the past I've walked in and they're selling condoms in the wall?
yeah, but they were worried about the tampons being put in men's rooms because of transgenders. You know, 1% of the population occupies their mind 99% of the time. That's how hate does.
Yeah, get out of their pants.
But if you're worried about a transgender person using tampons, you have no life. Like
No.
until these people brought it up, I never even considered what transgender people do. You know why? Because I mind my own damn business.
Exactly.
So Anyway, back to the bill. It has already been announced. The bill passed what, July 3rd, because of the spineless coward Republicans cowering to Trump.
It's all a blur.
Nebraska Public Media, PBS and NPR, posted this article on July 3rd at 8:42 a.m. Southwest Nebraska Medical Center announces plans to close, blames uncertainty over funding. That is literally because of the Medicaid and Medicare cuts in the big terrible bill.
Well, here we
So,
go. People's going to die.
well, what did Republican Joni Earth say? We're all gonna die.
We're all going to die. Yeah.
But
It's like a never-ending nightmare.
and
Sorry,
nightmare is
I'm yawning. I'm
definitely the
just
word
so
for it.
tired. Yeah,
But
it's never ending.
I'm trying to. I think I had it pulled up for the bill of what. Yeah, here it is. The key items in it's from BBC.com. What are the key items in Trump's sprawling budget bill? And I don't know if it has. It's got them in. Uh, Again, I can show the article. It's like there's the
It went
what
away.
it's showing. Just scroll down. It's
Oh,
but get back up here to the top. There's the headline title, so that everybody can see that I am reading from an actual article here and the source, because we're going to cite sources, unlike other places that, oh well, illegals are getting the Medicaid so they don't deserve it. Not one source that they can cite that shows where illegal citizens
no. If
are
you're
getting
illegal,
Medicaid.
you can't get it.
Exactly. But the things in this article, and I'm not going to read the article because that would take too much time. That's why I'm showing you the article so you can find it. But it's extension of 2017 Trump tax cuts, steep cuts to Medicaid with an estimated 11 to 17 million, I think I saw, losing health insurance because of this bill.
Over the
Social
course,
Security taxes,
over the course of 10 years. Yeah.
increasing state and local tax deduction, uh, cuts to food benefits. And let's talk about that for a minute. They don't want to give free lunches to kids in school. Why? What really good comes from not providing a lunch to kids in school?
Well, that's because they're evil and they're hateful. They don't want kids to be developed properly, and there's a lot of people out there that is underprivileged.
Well,
You
we
know.
know that they love uneducated people because Republicans thrive in undereducated areas. This is a fact. You can look it up. The statistics are out there. But you give a kid a lunch, their bellies are full, they're able to concentrate better.
Yeah.
You give them a breakfast, their bellies are full, they're able to concentrate better. They do better in school when they can concentrate better. So, of course, let's cut that out. But here's the thing, I never received a free lunch when I was in school. I don't know about you, Paul, but I sure didn't. And I look at it this way. I don't care that I didn't get a free lunch when I was in school. I didn't need a free lunch when I was in school, but I also look at the other impacts of it. One, I don't care if a billionaire's kid is getting a free lunch in school as long as the kid that needs a free lunch is getting a lunch in school. And if everybody in the school is getting a free lunch, doesn't that take away the embarrassment from the kids that can't afford the lunch getting the free lunch?
Well, I remember me being in school. You got to remember, I'm 53 right now. Whenever I was in grade
He's old.
school, shut up. It's kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, and fourth grade in the same building, and that was at Northbrook Number Three School. All my lunches was free. All my breakfast was for free. It was just supplied by the school system. That's just the way it was. I didn't have to pay for anything. And then I went over to middle school, and I was over there at Northbrook Number One School. I was there for fifth grade and sixth grade, and still I didn't have to pay for school lunches or anything like that. Um, Now, I never partook in the breakfast though, but one of my friends that over there in the 5th grade and 6th grade building said, no, it was whenever I was in kindergarten, is K through 4th. They said, well, you can get a breakfast if you want to. It's free, so if you want to. And my mom and daddy told me, don't you get that breakfast? I'm like, well, what's the big deal? It's free. So I remember a couple mornings I'd go over there and get me it's like a little hot cake and this little sausage thing for breakfast. And, just the way you start your school. And then whenever I got up to, now 5th and 6th grade was free. Now, when I got up to 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade, that was free. Now, whenever got up to the high school in 10th, 11th, and 12th in high school, that's when I had to pay for lunches. I had to load money onto a card. It's almost like a debit card, but it had barcodes on it, and we had to load money on that, and we used that to pay for our lunches.
Yeah, and I do remember paying for lunch in school and not getting free because we did not like you could buy the card at the beginning of the week and then have it basically you were buying each meal ahead of time
Now,
so
what
that
grade were you
you didn't
in when
have to
you
worry
remember
about it.
that?
Do what?
What grade were you in when you remember that?
I remember the 5th grade having the ability to prepay for lunch all week,
Okay.
and that's what we would do. And now, granted, I'm old too, so when I was in school, I think lunches were 80 cents, went up to $1, went up to $1.25.
Wow.
And
Could you
you know,
imagine?
that's not a lot of money, but
No.
not everybody, and it's nowhere near the same as today, I'm sure, because I'm sure that they are way higher today. But
Oh, yeah.
the
Whenever I got into high school, we had a pizza bar, a salad bar, a sub bar. We had a cheeseburger bar. We had all that to choose from.
now see, we had the regular line with what the school provided for lunch, and then we had the snack line, and the snack line had pepperoni pizza every day. You know, the ones that weren't the
These weren't the
rectangle, they
square
were
ones.
actually like a pizza slice,
Oh, okay. It
and
was
they had the little
little
dot
pieces of,
pepperoni.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
those, and they were like $1 a piece because they were not the regular lunch menu. But you could get like two vegetables, the whatever the entree was, and a milk. I think for the $1.25 as I went through.
Wow, that's pretty good. So
So it was not a lot of money, but again, not everybody can afford that.
no.
We have to take in consideration there are people in need. And if you are mad about billionaires getting free lunch, let me just remind you, you also support the trickle down theory, where if we take the taxes away from the billionaires, they're going to trickle that money down to us, which never happens. So blame the billionaires if they're not giving money to the school system to help pay for those lunches that they don't need
Do you
when
know what really
you
sucks?
want them to trickle down.
You know what really sucks? I pay more taxes than Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. And with this big, terrible bill, you're going to pay even more than he does.
Yeah.
But
Well,
going on with the article, boost to defense and border spending, no tax on overtime or tips and other elements. However, they're not saying what that's going to do to your taxes at the end of the year. How
no,
much
they're
more will
not.
you have to pay because of it? And that's only through 2028. And it starts like next year. So it's 2 years. That's all it really is.
Yep.
Clean energy incentives reduction. And I have been saying on social media everywhere, even if you don't believe in climate change, why do you want to remove clean air and the systems in place to clean the air? Literally, smog causes respiratory problems. You can tell when the truck in front of you is blowing off its diesel smoke and you start coughing because you breathed it in. Now imagine
Well,
that suffocating the air. Like, look back at pictures. Seriously, go back and watch Madonna's Papa Don't Preach video. Look at the skyline of New York City
oh,
in
it's
that video
terrible.
and look at it now. Now the air is clear. There, you can see the smog over the city. It's literally noticeable.
And by the way, I want to take a little pause. I want to welcome the followers that is watching with us right now, live with us. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't know who you are, but thank you so much for doing that. And we love you.
But and that's actually where the thing is. There is a graph down at the bottom of this, and I will show it. I don't know how much you'll be able to see. It's
Well, I already,
estimated increases in savings in U.S. federal spending from the bill, cumulative cost increases over 10 years, $4.5 trillion increase over the next 10 years.
yeah, I saw where, did you see what Jason Momoa put out?
No, I've not seen anything from him.
Oh, yeah, he put out a scathing video going off on that bill. He did. It was pretty good, too. Like I needed another reason to like Jason Momoa.
Okay, so I scrolled through it, so and I know it's backwards on the screen because I don't know how to get this thing to flip around to be the right way on here. So I'm going to read what is in this graph. Estimated increases in savings in U.S. federal spending from the bill. Cumulative cost increases over 10 years. Tax cut extensions, 4.5 trillion. Defense, 150 billion. Borders, 129 billion. Total savings over 10 years. Medicaid, negative 930 billion. Why? Because they're taking it away from so many people. Green energy, negative $488 billion. Why? Because they're not doing anything to make the air clean and keep the environment safe. Just like, and this is off topic, but remember, in his first term, Trump literally deregulated the food industry. For the last 5 years, we have had a massive number of food recalls. People have actually died from food poisoning because there's no regulation in place to make sure these factories are staying clean, and it's just getting worse and worse. And then finally, the food benefit, they're saving a whole $287 billion off the budget. Why? Because again, they're taking away food from people who need it. And they love to say Christianity and the Bible and Jesus and all this. I don't remember Jesus ever denying somebody health care. I don't remember Jesus ever denying somebody food.
Well, they really didn't have healthcare back then, but
Well, they had people who would help, like
they had
not
healers.
doctors, but people who
Yeah,
were specifically for that.
yeah,
That's
they
what I'm
had
talking about. Not an
healers back
actual
then.
healthcare system, but healthcare in general.
Yeah. So no, he was all about. That's why he took the loaves and the fishes and fed. God, I forget how many people. Sorry, 400 people, 4,000 people, something like that. Go ahead and blast me. It's I know this is a parable of the loaves and fishes, but I do know he fed a lot of people the loaves and fishes. I need to like get back in the Bible and start reading it again. I've done and forgot about that, and I've already read the Bible 3 times. I want to get the
Well,
Egyptian Bible this time around. It's
I
complete.
I want people to reread Leviticus, every last word of it, where it says you can't eat shellfish, you can't eat the meat of a hoofed animal, you cannot wear a garment made of two different threads, and on and on and on, because they keep focusing on the one passage, man shall not lie with man as he does with woman, even though I have found an article that I love to share to people quoting or saying the Bible says homosexuality is a sin, where at least in the German version and to certain translations of the Hebrew version, say it's man shall not lie with a child as
It's
he
that
does a woman.
the way the original text is man should not lie with child as with woman in the original text. And then sometime, I think it was in the 40s or the 60s, something like that, the word homosexual got put into the Bible. And it said man shall not lie with man, and they twisted the words about it. So, but to meet a certain narrative. But you also know the famous King James Bible. You know what King James also wrote? Book of the Demons before he wrote the. It's true. Before he did the Holy Bible, he did. It's a book of demons. You can't make
Uh,
this up.
well, we've talked about it before. I believe King James was a homosexual who was an extreme misogynist. But yeah, that's the version people want to go with. And on the Leviticus thing, when you point out all the other things, Well, when Jesus came, that took away the Old Testament, and we go by the New Testament now. Okay, well, you're still quoting Leviticus for homosexuality, but it's also part of what you just said is no longer valid because Jesus changed it all.
Chris, let's just go ahead and just get down to the nitty gritty of this. We're all going to go to hell for having mixed fabrics.
But it's just I cannot fathom why people choose to hate. Like it is so much easier to just accept and go on than it is to sit there and hate on somebody for what they do in their life.
Yeah, like I could
I mean,
care
it's
less.
different if it's not between consenting adults, but when it's consenting adults, what does it matter to you? Like, let's, and again, off topic, but let's talk about Anna Nicole Smith for a little bit. You know,
Oh Lord, really?
I'm not a fan. I hated her, but if she were truly happy dating somebody that much older, more power to her. If that's what floats her boat, it has no effect on my life whatsoever. Madonna dating a younger man has no effect on my life whatsoever. Cher dating a younger man, no
Oh
effect on
yeah.
my life whatsoever. Hugh Hefner dating a younger woman, no effect on my life whatsoever. Are we starting to see the picture here? What they're doing has no effect on my life whatsoever. So why do I care? I don't.
No, I don't. I don't give a shit. Oh, can I say that? I don't give a shit. Who
Hold up the
does
poop
what
emoji.
behind their doors? I don't give it. I don't care what they do. As long as they're nice to me, that's all I care about.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And quite frankly, the transgender people that I've met, they're just fine, decent people. Like I have no reason to dislike them because they've given me no reason to dislike them.
Yeah, I know some transgenders and they're sweet as could be.
And I've pointed out to people, as far as transgender people go, I don't understand it. I will never understand it. I can't imagine wanting to be a different sex than what you're born. But I also realize, hey, if I felt that way, that would take a really big toll on my mentality and my emotions, and my mental stability would be hurt by it because I don't know why I want to be a different gender than what I was born.
Honey, what are you talking
And
about? You don't have mental stability already.
hush it. But anyway, the if if that's how I felt since the time I was born, which they do, people can say differently. I very much believe they really do feel that way from birth. You know, society's not helping anybody hating on them. All you're
No.
doing is causing them to have a higher risk of suicide.
Okay, we need to get back in the lane here.
Okay, well, the beautiful bill that we were talking about, well, the terrible bill, it it talked about cutting green energy, and now this is again an old article. It is from March 16th, 2021, and the source is KRIS 6 News Corpus Christi. Solar panel saves Arkansas school enough for teachers to get up to $15,000 in raises. They
Wow.
put solar panels on the schools and turned their deficit into a positive.
I'm all
Just
about
like that.
solar panels.
Like, so why are we cutting green energy when you literally made this school profitable of the school system? Because it wasn't just the one school, it was, from what I understand, they put it on the schools in the district.
Because it
Again,
makes two sense.
you
It makes so
can
much sense.
really change things for the better with green energy, but we got to cut them because Trump said so.
Well, he's wanting to have all this charcoal. Whatever. Maybe he can use it to color that nasty hair he's got. You imagine that shoe polished black on his hair?
Uh, are you going to switch parties for the next election?
Sweet. I'm not affiliated with the party.
Well, you're not affiliated with the American Party that Elon Musk has started. I'm shocked, Paul. Shocked.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Well, the kicker.
But,
New York State will not allow any political party that uses the name America on the ballot.
well, there you go.
So They can't be in New York. The good thing about it is, yes, it will take some from the Democrats, but it will take more from the Republicans. So,
Anytime there's a third party involved and they got power to it, it's gonna fuck up some stuff big time.
well,
It's
the
gonna.
difference with this is there are people who want Elon and Trump to reconcile. And we had a great time at their expense with the cat fight a few weeks ago because that was just hilarious. But they'll be swayed by it and listen to the politicians in that party. And if it stays the American party, then that'll sway them too because they think it's patriotic
Well, no,
when it's really a guy who's not even from America, neither North or South America.
no. On July 1st, Elon tweeted out that if the bill passes, if it's the last thing he does, he will make sure that every seat turns over to Democrat next year in the midterms.
Well, he
If it's
said
the
that the
last thing he
Republicans
does
need to take the Republicans out.
to take them
Any
out,
anyone who voted for this bill, he would make sure they lose.
he make sure they
Basically,
lose, and a Democrat will be replacing them.
well, he didn't say Democrat that I saw, but he did say he would make sure they
Oh,
lose.
it's the screenshots of my phone, but guess what? I can't use it because this is
I,
my
because
phone.
I don't go to Twitter. I just the reports I just kept seeing were he would make sure whoever voted for the bill loses.
Oh
So,
no, I go to Twitter and I screenshot that crap.
but shall we talk about the big deflection that just happened
About what?
about the client list?
Oh Lord, is there a client list? Yes, there is. Is there one? No, there isn't. Make up your damn mind.
Well, is I saw a meme on Facebook today that said it was a picture of Ghislaine Maxwell, and it said, "If there's no client list, why am I in jail?" Pam Bondi on video saying there is a client list. Now Trump's DOJ says there's no client list, and conveniently, with the cameras turned off, Epstein committed suicide
Of
while Trump was
course.
president.
Yeah, we all know better than that.
And again, this is from Axios.com, but the title, in case you couldn't read it backwards, exclusive DOJ FBI conclude Epstein had no client list, died by suicide. You know, that was the thing I said back when it happened was people were saying Hillary and Clinton and Bill had Epstein killed. And I was like, Trump's president. Trump's been filmed with Epstein on video and photograph, laughing and joking with Epstein. Trump had more to lose than the Clintons did.
Way more.
So why would the guy who was president at the time with so much to lose not even be a suspect, but people who have pretty much nothing to lose are your top suspects because you hate them
Well,
basically. But
Bill and Hillary got accused of killing so many people. You know, if somebody got whacked, it was Bill and Hillary. Somebody got whacked, it was Bill and Hillary. I mean, I think that that's just all just hearsay. They got to blame it on someone. But don't cross the Clintons; they'll have you whacked. But
well,
I, I
they were suicided
with
with a
the
guillotine.
cameras off with that piece of trash in the pokey, someone could have easily walked in there and just choked the 11 mortal shit out of him and while he's sleeping. And
Yeah, and I believe that they found the cameras to be working in working order. Otherwise, they just happened to black out during the time that Epstein died.
of course they did. It's
Nobody happened
convenient.
to hear anything,
Nope, not a thing.
but it it's just way too much convenience on it. And of course, we got to deflect because we attacked Iran for no reason. It was an obliteration that didn't obliterate anything. And Trump's let's go back to the debate. Trump said, if I win the election within 24 hours after winning the election and before taking office, I will end the war in Ukraine. We are now, what, 6 months into his presidency, and the war is still raging. People are dying like crazy.
Don't they
Russia is
realize that
making larger strikes than ever.
if breath is coming out of his mouth, it's all in the form of lies, lies, lies.
You know that,
You
I
don't
know that, but his
he don't
devoted followers are
care.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
That orange buffoon does not care. He does not. He will tell you anything. Snake oil salesman will tell you anything that to get elected. Yeah. So, and I want to welcome another watcher with us. I just saw another one pop in. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you enjoy. Yay!
And the next thing I want to talk about, because you just threw me off of what you were saying there, but I've got this one pulled up. You know, Trump lost in 2020, and we accepted that they didn't, and now we're having issues accepting Kamala Harris because why? The guy who owns Starlink, who was part of controlling the election results, was on Trump's side. He actually said that if it had not been for him, Trump wouldn't have won the election.
Yep.
And now I think we talked about this the last time, but we're going to mention it again because it's worth saying. Votes for Kamala Harris are literally disappearing in New York. And people are like, well, it's New York. She won that anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. But if they're happening there, are they not possibly happening other places?
It's in
Like,
Rockville County, there in New York. There's a
yep,
whole investigation going on there.
Rockland.
Rockland, excuse me.
Voters erased in Rockland.
Yep.
And
The rest of their ticket went blue, and the very top went red.
yep. And so that is an issue. And yes, she won the state. Yes, this state would not change anything in the election, but it does raise legitimate questions. If her votes are literally disappearing, there's something wrong there.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's is it the machines that they were using? Were they the same machines used in other
Well,
states, and were there issues?
if you remember, after the 2020 election, um, the Republicans bought up voting machines. They did, and I think they just probably took them apart and learned how they worked. But anyway, Trump on the campaign trail consistently said, "I don't even need your votes. I've already won. I don't need you to vote." He said that. He's such an idiot. God, he has no poker face to him at all.
Well, I don't know if I've mentioned this before because this was one I did intend to talk on. I don't think I did, but this is the last political story I have. So
Good. What are we going to talk about
we're
next?
gonna go out on something that they can't argue on, but they will deny and deny and
Puppies
deny.
and puppies and
But
kittens and cookies. Oh my!
we were being tracked by the vaccine for COVID because they were shooting microchips into us. But Trump is actually building a national citizenship database.
I saw that on TikTok.
Literally is tracking people in this country on a database.
I'll fill you in on that. I watched this creator on TikTok. He's got millions of followers, and he's talking about there's an app that's coming out called M. It's going to replace TikTok, and they're rolling it out in September. But by the time March rolls around, um, then that's going to be forced to replace the TikTok with the M app, and at that point, it's just going to be collecting all your databases.
Uh, And so the article reads, the tool, which is being rolled out in phases, is designed to be used by state and local election officials to give them an easier way to ensure only citizens are voting. But it was developed rapidly without a public process, and some of those officials are already worrying about what else it could be used for. Can anybody say 1984?
Uh, Nazi Germany.
Uh, I mean, George Orwell predicted this.
Yeah,
So, so remember, this is what you voted for when you voted for Trump or a third party, because voting third party absolutely put Trump in office.
that's right. So, okay, what are we talking about next?
Now I've got one big entertainment news story because it's just amazing. You heard about Veronica Electronica, didn't you?
Veronica Electronica. Sorry.
It's the
Oh,
remix album
the remix
yep,
album of Madonna. Okay, yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
Ray
yeah.
of Light recordings coming out July 25th of this year. You can pre-reserve it on Spotify or pre-save it, however they say it, so that you can listen to it on Spotify as of July 25th. It is different remixes of the songs from Ray of Light that were done and never released. There will be a vinyl version. I do not know if there is a CD version, but there is definitely a vinyl version coming out.
Also, the new Jurassic World film had a breaking box office record this weekend. It's the highest grossing film on a weekend. They did right at $320 million during their first weekend. I thought that was pretty neat.
And and that was the 5-day weekend. I do know that the domestic total, Superman is actually predicted to do more than Jurassic Park's 5-day weekend in its 3 days.
Oh, well, we'll see.
So I will definitely be going to see the Superman in a theater, but not the opening weekend.
I want to see. I still want to see Dead Reckoning, and I still want to see the MI movie, and I still want to see. I want to see Jurassic Park, and then I want to see that movie. Also, I found another interesting tidbit. Who was the number one artist last year of how much they earned in one year, alive or dead?
I'm guessing because I know you, Michael Jackson, but the other guess would be Taylor Swift.
Michael Jackson, because Taylor Swift had hers broke apart in 2 years because she did 1.4 billion in 2 years with her tour. Michael Jackson, he earned $600 million last year, and the next person that was closest to him was Khloe Kardashian, and she did 591 million.
And
I don't get it. How's these Kardashians? I've attempted to watch their shows. I can't get into it. It's stupid. I just can't.
it's reality. I just won't watch it like at
It's
all. I've never
it's
watched
just
any
I don't
Kardashian
get
show.
it. And then they're worth. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't. I mean, I guess I could come out with a show called The Wellmans and have just me, my dad, my uncle on it.
Well, like I said, I've never been a fan of reality. I watched Cyndi Lauper's reality show because I love Cyndi Lauper. I watched Comic Book Men because it was Kevin Smith. It was set in a comic book shop. They it was kind of like Pawn Stars for comic books
Yeah,
because people would bring in their stuff and they would discuss it and offer them money to buy it and sell it in Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash comic book shop. But overall, reality is just not my thing. And even when Cyndi Lauper was on The Apprentice, as much as I love Cyndi Lauper, I refused to watch it because I hate Trump that much. So yeah, it's reality shows in general are just crap. However, the Match Game returns this week, which is
I
a game show, not
saw
reality show.
that. I saw that
And
on TikTok.
Martin Short is the new host of the Match Game this year.
Oh, that'll be good. I love Martin Short.
So he replaces Alec Baldwin, which granted I liked Alec Baldwin better after he was the host of Match Game, but they needed to replace him after all the controversy.
Yeah,
But to answer the question from earlier, Condoleezza Rice from 2001 to 2005 was National Security Advisor of the United States. 2005 to 2009 was U.S. Secretary of State.
we kind of blended the two titles together.
Yeah. So, and did you have any other entertainment news? Because I've got one passing that I've got to talk about before we leave.
Well, the guy on Charmed, what's his name?
Julian McMahon.
Yeah, he passed away, and he
He
played
was
it a
Doctor
lot.
Doom in Fantastic Four with Jessica Alba. He was on Nip Tuck.
Yeah, I saw that. I've got a lot of Charmed groups I'm a member of on Facebook, and all of a sudden people started posting "Rest in Peace," and I was like, "What? No, he didn't die. Cole Turner died." I was like, "What the hell? Did they say
Um,
what was wrong with him? What
it was
happened?
cancer. 56 years
Cancer."
old, cancer.
Yeah,
and said he was battling privately. So,
well, I saw one of the pictures that they had posted of him, and he looked really thin. And I thought, oh, he looks like he has cancer. So that's what it was. But he still looked good. But that's awful. So was that the cat passing you just want to talk about?
no, the one I want to talk about is one. If anybody knows me, they will know how much this is an impact on me. He was a composer known for Blue Bloods, Ghost Whisperer, and most importantly, The X Files. Mark Snow passed away at the age of 78.
He did the music for X Files.
Yes, through the entire series.
Yeah, I saw that. X Files is streaming on Hulu, I think, and I
Yep.
want to start. I want to start rewatching all of them.
I own seasons 1 through 6 on digital, and I think season 10, maybe 11, and I own on digital, and I own the Blu-ray and the DVD of the series, all the seasons. So,
Yeah,
like, I will never be without my X Files because I absolutely love it. And I mean, it's his music was so perfect for the show. Like, I can't imagine anybody else having the music that would fit the feel for what the X Files was doing because it was just a creepiness that was great.
that music was creepy. I can hear it playing in my head now as it's coming on.
And now, if he actually did the theme song, I don't know, but I know he did the music for the series. And the article I've got pulled up is from Variety. It says a 15-time Emmy nominee, he not only scored more than 200 episodes of Chris Carter's spooky Fox series and both its big screen incarnations, all starring David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, he also provided the music for other series including Heart to Heart, T.J. Hooker, Smallville, The Ghost Whisperer, and Blue Bloods.
Wow, he had some good ones underneath his belt, didn't he?
6 of his 15 Emmy nominations were for The X Files, but 5 others were for such high rated TV movies and miniseries, including Something About Amelia, An American Story, Oldest Living Confederate Widow Tells All, Children of the Dust, and Helter Skelter.
Children of the Dust. I believe in child labor. They need to get in here and clean that up.
And this is, if I'm reading this right, it's very interesting. All of the X Files TV music, sometimes as much as 40 minutes per weekly episode, was created on his synthesizers, samplers, and other music making machines. So you're talking about a show that was 40 to 48 minutes long through the series. Some of the episodes had 40 minutes of Mark Snow music. That's how important his music was to the series.
And he did it all with synthesizer. So I think let's try that again. I think that's cool.
So, I mean, it's fantastic body of work. I've got the X Files soundtracks, the score, everything on CD. My Halloween music list always includes the music from the X Files. I mean, it's just he was a tremendous composer with what he did, just for the X Files alone,
Yeah.
let alone everything else that he
N-
did.
Now, when did he pass?
This article is from July 4th. I'm not sure if he passed that morning, but I think it said died Friday at his home in Connecticut. He was 78, so it was July 4th that he passed.
78. Wow. He had a lot of accomplishments.
Yep. And just because we're talking about him, let's show the picture from the article because he deserves the recognition. But that is Mark Snow, the
You know,
legendary composer.
excuse me. I remember his name. I bet it was from the X Files from reading the credits because I love reading the credits, you know?
I'm sure it was every opening of every episode.
Yeah.
Music by Mark Snow after the guest stars and everything else was mentioned. And before Chris Carter was mentioned for directing and producing and writing and creating and everything else Chris Carter did.
Yeah.
So, and they've talked about a reboot for Disney because Disney bought Fox and now owns the rights to the series. And I really hope they don't. Like this is a show that was perfect
It
with the
needs to be
cast it had.
left alone. Leave it alone.
And we saw that changing the cast doesn't work because seasons 8 and 9 without Mulder and Scully together, they weren't as good.
No, they weren't.
Like you had to have Mulder and Scully, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson to make this show work. And I'm not talking about race swapping, and I'm talking about replacing either one of them. They could have been any race. The dynamic with those two just worked.
They did.
So, with that, any final words, Paul?
No, just take care. Don't let all the haters get to you. Let all the negativity slide off your back and trudge forward.
And I've actually started a TikTok like Paul told me to, so I don't have the
About
actual
time.
site name for it yet, but and I haven't put a lot on there. I have not recorded any videos for it. I've recorded videos like I've got the same thing that I have on YouTube, the March and Morganton and the if you get the chance, if you're watching through to this point, I really very much implore you go listen to the speaker that I recorded at the No Kings rally in Morganton. She talked about immigration from a firsthand experience, and she was so well spoken, did such a fantastic job. I wish I could remember her name, but she definitely deserves to be listened to because of what she said. I mean, it really was an elegant speech. So if you get the chance, please listen to that here on my channel. Paul, where can they find you?
Paul INHKY at YouTube or on Twitter.
And if you've made it this far, please hit the like and subscribe because obviously you've enjoyed it. So help grow our channel, help you find the shows and videos that you want to see. And remember, the fight's not over. We've got to get our voices heard, hold the government accountable. Do not allow one man to become extreme power and have control of everything in this country because you wouldn't want that with Biden. Why do you want it with Trump?
There you go.
So until next time, bye everybody.
Bye bye.